Come
Hey,
on, what's
Chelsea.
good?
We got a special
Chelsea.
guest kicking off the next
What's
going on,
podcast.
youth?
My whole goal
All right.
in life is to turn Arsenal kids into Chelsea fans. You know, get the youths young.
And so, welcome to another episode of the Soccer Family Podcast. We've got an interesting group of characters this week. We're starting to see some trends in the regular contributors, but I think it provides for a more consistent podcast. Nahum, go ahead.
Vamos Sevilla, muchachos. What's up, guys? It's Nahom, supporting anybody against United and Arsenal, of course.
Go ahead.
What's going on, everybody? M is back for another recording. I think we need to highlight that Serena Wegman is going to be taking over Phil Jones. That's the biggest news in Manchester right now. So we can definitely talk about that instead of the Manchester United Sevilla game. I'm just throwing it out there.
Bernard.
Hey, what's up, people? A good week. Arsenal not really in the news. Aubameyang about to sign.
All right, guys. So it's been a big week in football. There's been a lot of interesting results. The season is actually winding down to the penultimate game, which will be the Champions League final. And so we've got two interesting ties in this upcoming week that we are going to see. The first of them being PSG versus Red Bull. Bernard, I'd like you to start off with this and talk about your predictions for the upcoming game and where you think both teams stand going into this tie.
Well, I would say PSG won, but I was disappointed in them. So I'm still a little bit hesitant with them. And I am very impressed with Red Bulls. They have a center back that I think is very impressive, Upamecano. Very, very good young. I like that player. Neymar I think he's trying too hard. He's trying to win the game by himself. So he does all the hard work and then just a simple thing just to win the game. He's missing the simple chances. I think the game is going to be close. But I think it depends on the coach because we know how Red Bull are going to play. They're going to high press you, right? But for some reason, based on the last game, PSG, the coach, just like Manchester City, the coach did not impose himself and his style on the game. He tried to change his format until he was losing. Then he tried to get in more players to play on the ball. So, but PSG has more stars. So I would give PSG, I'll probably go for a 3-1 PSG. They have the star players are on PSG. Red Bull is just a young team that's going to make it difficult, but I'll go with PSG. 3-1.
Bernard, you make an interesting point. Do you think that Neymar may have been rusty considering PSG is the only team that hasn't played a game in 5 months?
Yes, that played a big part. And it's not just on Neymar, on both teams in France, right? And it shows because you could see in front of goal how he's rushing because he did like he got one where he beat the guy by a half turn from the half line. And he made like 3 strides. So you could see that he's in shape and he has the speed. But then just that calmness in front of goal. He kicked it way wide. Then he got another one where he was easy for him to just tap in and he kicked it way wide. So it's just the talent that came out in the end. But you could tell that the rust is there for them. Right? So that's going to affect them a lot.
Nahom, I put you on mute, so you are getting some feedback. But for you, I know that you're a big proponent and a big fan of Neymar. And what did you think about his performance, and what is your prediction for the upcoming tie? And how do you think what problems do you think he'll give Red Bull in the next tie?
Well, I think I agree with parts of what B said, but then I disagree on certain parts as well. I think Neymar had to try hard because it's him and Cavani, essentially the two attackers. Not Cavani.
Cardi.
Cardi for that other two-man attacker. So they were looking to him to create any of the chances, and before Mbappe came on. I think this tie will look a little different because Mbappe should start. He's healthy enough to start. The manager said in his press conference. Guy might be hurt, but Verratti might be coming back too. He didn't say that he's not going to play. So I think the coach's hand was a little forced with injuries in the last tie, and how he was and how he set up his team. I think this time will look a lot different. I also think Di Maria might be healthy as well. So there's another attacking option.
It's something that perplexed me, and you make a good point. Is how do you have 5 months off and have so many injuries?
Bro, the manager himself hurt himself in training. Like the manager had a cast from hurting himself in training. So it's the PSG story, man. It's like when they get to this level, PSG, Man City, there's always some foolery things that happen. Like you've been sitting for 4 months, and in the 5th month you get hurt. So it could be due to the lack of games, but that's not hurting Leon, right? Leon doesn't really have that many injuries. The whole team is healthy. So I don't know. You have to ask the manager, like, what's going on at training? These guys are, they're having these muscle injuries when they're not playing a lot of games. But I think with a healthy team, I think the only person that should be definitely out is Navas. So that might cause a little problems if you're having a young goalkeeper. But I think PSG, that was their Achilles heel in the quarterfinals. I think now that they're in the semis, I think they'll pull through. The one thing about Leipzig that concerns me is yes, that the defenders are good, especially the one to be mentioned, but they take a lot of risks and tight little passes. And if PSG plays it right, you're not going to be able to get away with that with PSG. There's a lot of pace, and they can set traps for him because he reminded me of a young Kurt Zuma, where those guys are when they're on, right? But when certain schemes are put there for them, they completely struggle. So I feel like he's gonna have a bad game against PSG. I think they're gonna set up in a way where they want him to play those balls, and they're gonna counter off of that. So as long as Tuchel doesn't start negative like he did last game, and he's got the players that are healthy, I like PSG's chances 3-1, 4-1. I like heavy favorites for me. I feel like Leipzig got away with it in the last game, personally.
So both of these guys have picked PSG for resounding victory. I know you're the consummate contrarian. What are your thoughts on both teams, and what is your prediction for the next tie?
So first, KG, I don't like how I'm being labeled as a contrarian. I'm just the person that use optics, as Figo usually say. You just use your optics, mate. We've been watching football now, not on CBS live streaming, but we've been watching it on Tudene, right? And that's a Hispanic channel, so I don't really understand what you're talking about. But all I can do now is focus on the game. And from the game that I saw, Red Bull Atletico, I saw a Red Bull team. I guess I can't call them Red Bull. I saw a RB Leipzig team that is very good on the ball, even with the absence of Timo Werner. Everybody considered his absence to be the downfall of RB Leipzig, and for some reason they have still managed to get the pieces together to make an amazing run, to put themselves into the semifinal. Last week, somebody, let's just say hypothetically, KG said that Atletico Madrid is going to be going through to win everything because of their defensive posture, the possibility for them to win based on the one league format, which we're going to talk about later. But they have a quick rhythm. They got in rhythm really quickly, Red Bull, based on the game that I saw. The team movement was better in terms of them in comparison with Atletico Madrid. And PSG skimmed, because I think we're trying to talk about, oh yeah, PSG has all the star players. PSG managed to get by with the absence of Mbappe, right? The fact that what's his name? What's the one from Verratti was also out, and we also had Di Maria, which was out. I don't know if Verratti is going to be playing in the next game. I'm not sure about the suspension, but we are still failing to acknowledge his importance in the team. They do have an amazing firepower, and B also pointed out the fact that RB Leipzig have a very good defensive unit. Okay, so as long as they can contain Mbappe and keep Neymar off on the flanks doing his joga bonito, I believe that they can do what they did. Everybody, they're my new Atletico Madrid, basically is what it is. So I believe that they're gonna skim through and get one on PSG.
KG's point, real quick. Simeone, that was a Simeone. You talk about tactical, like, poof. Simeone had to crack that game. So, I mean, to start, what's his name? Diego Costa with a 21-year-old strong center back by himself. He should have started Morata and he should have started the Portuguese boy. So I think that was a tactical just waste from Simeone, which you don't really regularly see. So
I think they had too.
I have
I
a
think
question.
they had too much time.
I have a question for the group. Do you guys think Neymar's performance is solely based on Russ, or part of it is based on him being at the center stage now, and the world is watching him trying so hard to lead and show everyone that he's the man now. He's fully away from Messi shadows, and he's gonna fully lead his team to the Champions League.
B, you know he won player of the match that game.
Yes, but okay, fine. But how, to you personally, how did he play?
I thought he played well. I think he just wasn't clinical in front of goal.
Yeah,
So
but he's a striker.
Yeah,
Right.
but
That's
So
Russ.
I've seen Messi and Ronaldo miss chances sometimes and have off games, right? So it's one of those things where history tells us Neymar doesn't have two of those. So
Okay.
I go with the side of history of saying he's not going to miss those chances often.
Yeah, but what I'm asking is it only because it's Russ, or part of it is him wanting to be like, he's trying so hard to be that guy now, and the opportunity is there.
Adam looks like he's very excited. Let him answer.
Okay.
It's both, right?
Okay.
It's the fact that he was rusty, right? The fact that he was rusty. He hasn't played a lot of games, so that's why he was missing in front of goal. But I feel like it's also the pressure of him finally getting that opportunity to be the main guy. When he was at Santos, you're at Santos. When he went to Barcelona, Messi was the main guy. Then he comes to PSG, Mbappe is the main guy, right? So he finally gets that opportunity. So Mbappe is not the main. Mbappe is the main guy.
Neymar is head and shoulders.
Mbappe is the man. If Mbappe didn't come on in that game, they would all be packing their bags and they would be going home. Tuchel would be on a bus somewhere trying to find a new job. That's how it works. Neymar had that opportunity to be that guy, and I felt like the pressure, he was overwhelmed by the pressure.
How was he overwhelmed? He's putting the ball between guys' legs.
Because he didn't score. It's his job.
Guys that are low in pressure, and guys that have low pressure, don't try to play the football that he plays. I think he had 2 or 3 opportunities where he should have buried them and he didn't bury them. And I think we're making too much of that.
As a striker, if I bring you in your job, okay, I'm a developer. As a developer, you're paying me to write code and create an application. As a striker, I'm paying you to score goals. I'm not paying you to nutmeg people. I'm not paying you to joga bonito. I'm paying you to finish and get me to the end. If you're a defender, I'm paying you to defend. As a striker, if you're not scoring goals, look at Manny. Look at Lukaku. That guy has 0 skills, but he scores goals. So that's how it works. Manny has 0 skills, but he scores goals. And you know that some weird thing is going to happen. But if he scores goals, how can you take that guy out? Neymar is doing a great job, but he didn't score. Okay, good for him. And he didn't score that game. If that was Messi, if that was Lewandowski, if that was Cristiano Ronaldo, if that was Lukaku, do you think if it was Mbappe, do you think they would miss those opportunities that Neymar had?
It's happened.
But okay, now let me ask you something. If it was, M said something, if that was Messi, right, at the World Cup, and he missed chance like those, what would everyone say?
They would say he choked. But that's me. But that's the thing. Like, if you have no football brains and you've never played football, you say something like that, right? But we know these things can happen. Raheem Sterling can be on this. Raheem Sterling had the highest goals he's ever scored this season, right? But the ball comes to him in the 6th and he misses it. It could happen.
Yep, but now home. What I'm saying is, see, Raheem Sterling personality and all the things that Raheem Sterling has done in his career is a little bit different from Neymar, right? In terms of Neymar is a player that we all know. The reason why he left Barcelona is to come up from under Messi shadows for him to be the leading man. Do we all agree with that?
Absolutely.
Right? And know that he has been, this is what, the 3rd time at PSG, the 3rd year? I think he was injured twice.
He was injured twice, yeah.
Yeah, so because of that, know that he finally got an opportunity. You don't think this
Derek,
that don't play a part in his mind?
I agree that there's nerves always. But to say that Neymar's missing chances constantly because of nerves, I don't agree with that, because in other situations, in other big games, he's been
No. We're not saying it's because of nerves. We're saying a part of the reason why he's missing chances.
Nerves is the contribution. Nerves contribute.
Right.
Right.
But a big part of that is because he's trying so hard to be that guy, to lead the team, and he has the whole stage. Everyone is watching.
He's had the whole stage since he was like 20 years old, bro.
And he hasn't delivered by himself.
He's not a guy that busts under pressure.
What was that, KG?
And he hasn't delivered. He hasn't delivered for his country, and he hasn't delivered for his club either. And so you can't say. But hold on. So you can't say he's never been the best player on his team and won anything.
Yes, he has.
When?
He literally hit the winning PK in an Olympics that his country has never won.
You're talking about You're talking about the U23 tournament.
Yes, but
you're talking about. Oh, yes, sorry.
Wait.
That's
to be fair.
Talking about it with Brazilians. How big was that for those guys? How much?
Yes, it was a big deal.
Yeah, talking about the U23 tournament is the same thing as talking about a team winning the championship. Like that's not a real trophy.
But wait,
KG never won anything. That's something.
KG,
right?
now give me 10 seconds. But KG, to be fair, KG, for Brazil, the Olympics, that's huge for them, right?
Yeah.
And remember, you have to look at if you look at the history based on all the Brazilians that has gone to the Olympics with the team and they haven't won it. And
the Olympics, the level of competition at the Olympics isn't what it was before.
Yeah, I get that, but
Messi
played at
but it's still the Olympics.
But Messi played at the Olympics.
Everybody played at the Olympics.
Yeah, and for those countries, especially for Brazil that has never won it before, we saw for that. I give him credit for that, right?
Yeah.
And that was a big deal because they had never done it before, and he did it. So we don't want to discredit him for that one. But I just think for PSG, I think a part of it is he's on the stage now, and he's a little bit nervous. It happens to everyone.
And there's a massive.
We saw Roberto Baggio missing the World Cup final, so it's not impossible.
There's a price tag as well, B. To your point, there's a $230 million price tag attached to his head. So there's a level of expectancy of him to deliver. So that could easily play in his mind too.
Okay. So it's funny. This is a very French-centric debate. So moving on to the next semifinal, we actually do have another French team. It's 50% French, 50% German, same as the first tie. Bayern versus Lyon. So what is your prediction, M? And how do you think both teams come into the semifinals based on their last games?
Okay. So my team, Bayern Munich, that's why I have my red on. Bayern Munich is hands down going to be the team to win the Champions League. We all know that. Okay. My thing is, Lyon has been, I think people have not been giving Lyon the credit that they deserve. They have a good core of players. But one thing that they capitalized on was the ability for, for Pep to overthink things. And they actually capitalized on that. So kudos to them for that one. Bayern, I can't even talk about the game that they were playing against Barcelona. There's A, too many goals to recall, and B, Barcelona didn't show up at all. You know what I mean? So it's it's kind of embarrassing the way how Bayern has been dealing with teams. Instead of giving them scoring 7 goals against a team like, let's say, for example, Chelsea in 2 legs, they they managed to score 8 goals. They managed to score 8 goals in 1 leg against a team like Barcelona. Um, Barcelona currently, well, outside of Neuer, they have one of the best goalkeepers. They have a really good best goalkeeper. They have De Jong in the midfield. They have one of the best up and coming young players in Ansu Fati, and they have the best, arguably, because you guys know how I feel about CR7, but they have arguably one of the best players in the world in Lionel Messi, and somehow they managed to disregard all of that and just play their game. They didn't bend to anything that Messi wanted to do. Um, even what's his name? Even Coutinho came in, and he was very apologetic when he scored those goals because now he has to go back to this Barcelona life. So Bayern Munich is clearly the cream above the crop. They are the Inter Milan of the Champions League. So I really believe that they're gonna do really well. Lyon, clearly they're proving to everybody that this is no longer a farmers league, a farm league that they've been playing in. PSG was, I think it was Mbappe. He was proud to let that be known, but it's kind of ironic that they are going to be falling prey to Bayern's success in this Champions League. So yeah, I think Lyon is going to fall to Bayern.
Score?
You want me to give you the score now, or you want me to just do like a little
No.
compact? Okay, so now I think, oh man, it's gonna be tough. I think Bayern Munich has showed their hand a lot in that game. They could have kind of eased off the pedal a little bit. I think Lyon is gonna be able to handle what they're gonna be throwing at them, and I would say, man, it's rough. 3-1. Lewandowski's gonna score again. He's gonna score like his 150 millionth goal.
Um, Nahum. So it makes a good point. Lewandowski has been on fire. I know you're a huge fan of Messi. You're a huge fan of Neymar, obviously. Give us your prediction and give us your analysis on where you think Lewandowski on current form, where he ranks among the world's best players right now.
I think in terms of the game, right? Kudos to Lyon for pulling that through. Pep Guardiola, what are you thinking? It's not that complicated. His team finished 7th in La Liga and Ligue 1. Why are you playing with a 5-back line? Nothing's going on there attacking with 2. And then Fernandinho should never play for City again. I'm sorry, he's done great, but his legs aren't there, his decision making is not there. So he should go retire like Corinthians or something. But in terms of that game, the Lyon versus Bayern Munich game, so Chelsea, I've watched them 3 times now, against Chelsea in both legs and against Barcelona in that 1 leg. There's 2 identical reasons why we took 7, they took 8. We're trying to play out of the back. They're pressing with 3 very fast, agile, speedy, strong guys. So most of their goals came from turnovers, trying to play out of the back. And then they'll counter you. And how many times do we see tap-ins for Thomas Müller and Lewandowski? So if I'm Lyon, I'm going 4-4-2, and you can even call it a 4-5-1, and just trying to play that second ball. Do what they did against City. That's what I would do. I would not try to play out of the back. That's something that I think Bayern Munich really do well with, and what they train. They set up schemes and traps all over the pitch, and it's deadly. And it happened to us, and it happened to Barcelona. In terms of, what was the second part of that question, KP?
Lewandowski on current form, where do you think he ranks among?
Man, I think Lewandowski is one of the most disrespected strikers in world football history. I feel like he hasn't gotten, for him not to be on the Ballon list, like top 3, and I think ever. I don't think I've seen him on that list. It's disrespectful. I think the last Bayern player to be on that list was Ribéry when they won everything, when they cleaned up. I think they gave it to Messi or CR7, and it was like a big thing because Ribéry had probably the seasons that no winger / striker has ever had. So I think Bayern Munich has always been disrespected as on that status of like world. Because even for Robin not to be in that top 3 at any time in football is absolutely ridiculous. So I would put him. I mean, he's obviously the best striker in the world right now, but I think he's been top 1, 2, 3 best strikers in the world for the past 5 seasons. I don't think there's a season he's gotten probably under 25 goals. So we got I just feel like Bayern Munich players are disrespected when it comes to that Ballon. And then the one time they can win it, he can win it. What happens? We don't have a Ballon d'Or. Why? We have every other competition. Why wouldn't we have a Ballon d'Or? Absolutely ridiculous. So that's my take on it. I think he's absolutely disrespected.
So B, you saw Byron versus Lyon as well. What was your take on the manager and the club themselves, like making it public and posting on social media like this isn't a farmers league? What's your take on that, and what's your prediction on on the tie itself?
Well, that comes from because there's a stigma that the French league is a farmers league, right? But it's just they're just trying to get rid of that stigma of what the league is perceived to be. But what I can say is that the game is going to be a lot closer than. Interestingly, the Bayern Leon game is going to be closer than the Bayern Barcelona game for sure. Because even though Bayern is a machine, and yes, they are a machine, well-oiled machine, they play very good team football, right? And the stars play within the team. It's not like a PSG that the star leads the team. Bayern play a really good team football, and they have Thiago in the midfield, who is a joy to watch. That boy is a player, right? But the thing with Leon is that Leon is going to play just like how they played Man City, because all Leon is doing, it's like, I watched that game, it's like they went and they watched the way how Arsenal played Man City, and so, okay, we're going to do the same thing. You play a 3-4-3, and you're going to sit back and catch them on the counter. That's exactly what Leon is going to do to Bayern, right? So they are going to be probably the most difficult opponent that they are going to face, because Leon is very good defensively, and they have very speedy wingers, and they're going to try to catch them. But I still think Bayern is going to overcome them. I think it's going to be a 3-1, but it's going to be a closer 3-1 than what a lot of people think. Like, it's probably going to be 2-1 for a long time, and they probably hit them with the last one at the end. But I'm impressed with Leon because the way how they set up.
Okay.
KG, let me ask you a prediction. What do you think? What's your score prediction?
Man, I think the game against Bayern Lyon, I'm calling it a draw in regular time, and I think Bayern will win in PKs, and then PSG versus Red Bull. That's the game I'm really like worried about for PSG, just because like Bernard said, like Red Bull can hold the ball and they can play slick football, and Thiago Silva looks like he's on his. You're talking about Fernandinho. Thiago Silva looks like he's on his last leg, bro. Okay,
you'll see. Played well.
Yeah, he played well, but just wait and see.
I like the
wait. So KG, for the Bayern, you said it's gonna be a draw. Like what?
In regular time, I have Bayern winning in PKs.
No. What's the draw though? It's gonna be a 1-1,
2-2.
Okay.
2-2 draw. And
by the way, I think I didn't say my predictions for the Bayern game. 4-1. I'm going both legs 4-1. Bayern.
And then I got PSG. I got PSG winning 2-0 versus Red Bull. So you guys touched on it a couple of times, but Bayern destroy. I don't even know if we can call it destroyed. They did something to Barca that I don't ever think that I thought. Like I never thought that was possible. A team with Messi losing, taking 8. I don't even really know where to start. Bernard, start on your analysis for this particular game, please.
Well, you see, this game is that result is bigger than this particular game. That result is a reflection of Barcelona doing poor business for like 3 to 4 years. They have like, if you go back and look, they have made like 10 transfers. And out of the 10 is only one that has really been a good transfer. That is Frankie de Jong. And even him, they're playing out of position. Coutinho, the guy played one season, they got rid of him. They still owe like 60 million on that guy. Dembele, another $100 million guy.
I'll be right back.
Then you have what's the name of the other guy? Antoine Griezmann.
Yeah.
Another 100 million. So that's
300 million.
That's 300 million. And then remember, last year they bought an emergency striker.
Yeah,
in the middle of the season for another 16 million, who they know they don't want. Then remember, they bought Malcolm, right? The guy, they bought him for a season. The guy didn't even play like 10 games, and then they got rid of him, right? Then they have the other Brazilian one, Arthur, who now they're trying to get rid of him, right? Because they're trying to balance the book. So to me, this is, and then remember you have Samuel Mtiti, who is injured the minute that they got him, who's still hurt. So this is a reflection of them. This is more than what's going on the field, right? This is more than the coach. I know they're going to fire the coach, but you firing the coach don't fix the problem of Barcelona. I don't know who's recruiting those guys, but they're making very bad transfers, and they're making a lot of bad decisions at the top. So that's why these things are happening. And the worst part about it, it's going to be hard to get rid of those guys. And Luis Suarez is old. But I remember when B said Barcelona and Real Madrid, they have old legs positions. People laughed at me and tell me I didn't watch La Liga, tell me I didn't watch BN Sports. Right? Now look at it.
Now look at it.
Getting abused.
The guys using Ryan comments. Figo said, but no.
So now home. What? We talked a little bit before the pod regarding some of the issues at Barcelona from a tactical perspective. Where do you think Lopetegui got it wrong, and do you think that there was anything that he could have done to set up the team differently so that they were more resolute against what he saw was a machine in the way that they were playing, and always knew with his defenders, like they were going to run the risk of taking 8 if they played that way?
Lopetegui?
Not Lopetegui. Sorry. Not Lopetegui. Barcelona coach. Yes. Quique Setien. Do you think he could have done anything in terms of his setup to affect the outcome?
Bro, Messi this season alone said that they're not good enough to win Champions League. I don't think it wasn't a tactical thing. They've been a mess for a long time. Soon as they lost Neymar, it's been downhill from there. Once they lost Neymar, it's just there's no identity. They're just buying players and buying players. Griezmann is sitting in a 4-4-2 at Atletico Madrid for France, 4-4-2. You bring him into a system that's 4-3-3, and he kind of plays the Messi role. So it's like it's the decisions are made so rash, and maybe it's I don't think it was a tactical decision in these buys. I think it's to make the fans happy. Like they're after this guy, so we have to get Griezmann. He made no sense in getting. Like B said, getting rid of Coutinho after one season, absolutely ridiculous. And this is where Barcelona lies. This is the problem with Barcelona. First, the election is not this year; it's the following year. So this president, Joseph Bartami, whatever his name is, when he got elected, it was 5 years ago, because I think you have to go for 5 years, right? And so, because in Barcelona, they have members, and the members vote, right? So the gazillion members. And so he got voted after they won the triple, I think. They won the Champions League, the league, and the Copa del Rey. And so now, like, it's not what you come with, it's how you end, right? Now you have a guy at the end of his stint. So he's going to do whatever he can do to please the fans. Not the manager, who could be Coleman. It's going to be the fans, right? So, for instance, Pochettino. I think Pochettino, if they could convince him, because he'd be an idiot to take his job, because whoever gets him is going to get sacked after a year. Because it's going to be new president. We don't know what's going on with Messi. It's unstable. A lot of unstable things, right? So, if Pochettino would be a good fit, right? Ronald Koeman hasn't really had successful stints. He's doing okay with the Dutch team, but he also got some talent there, and just kind of luck came on his side. But Pochettino once said he'd rather work on a farm than coach Barcelona. So Barcelona fans, guess because he used to coach at Espanyol in the derby. So you think Barcelona fans?
I think he played there too.
What's that?
I think he played there too.
Yeah. So it's like when he said, but Espanyol they got relegated this year. So he can coach them because it's no disrespect. But the fact that he said that, so they're gonna get Koeman, right? And then you have a problem and a dilemma with Messi. First of all, Messi is gonna leave if the president doesn't leave. If he doesn't step down himself, right? Because they don't get along at all. So if let's say they sell Messi, best case scenario for them, right? Not best case, but a scenario for them. Who can afford Messi under this climate? What club can afford if Neymar is 230? What are you gonna pay Messi? And then you have wages. I think Messi makes something like 31 million a year. You know what I'm saying? So you have that dilemma. Then you have Coutinho, who they tried to sell last year. Who are you going to sell Coutinho for? And what loss are you going to take? And then you have Dembele, who plays more video games than he played games for Barcelona, who doesn't eat right, doesn't care, is not a true professional. How you don't do this research before you spend 100 million on this guy, right? So I don't think Barcelona has. I don't even mention Griezmann. As far as getting old and making too much money, Abadal getting old. You give these kids a huge contract, and he's done. He should go to Alam Halai, whatever, in Qatar, and play with Xavi. And so, before we talk tactics, we need to talk about basics of what they have to do. It needs to be personally, I think Messi's not going to wait. 33 years old. But I think what Barcelona needs for Barcelona, and not for Messi, is to move on from Messi. Because you can build with the young players that you have. It might take a little while, but you can build. With Messi, financially, they can't make it work. There's not enough, COVID didn't help the situation either, because clubs aren't in a financial situation to buy these players. So if I'm a Barcelona fan, I'm panicking, because that's, the guys been working for 15, 16 years. It's going to be tough to get rid of him, best player ever. So there's a huge dilemma. So before we can talk tactics, is my point. There's a lot of things that's wrong contractually with players. So yeah, they're screwed.
KG.
Yes.
The question you asked Nahom, the question you asked Nahom is what could Setien do? The answer is no. I don't know why Nahom took so long. The answer is nothing. There was absolutely nothing.
Hey son, don't come for me, dog. Context.
There's absolutely nothing that Setien could have done to stop this massacre. The average age of the average age of Barcelona is around 27 years old. Right, so all the players that he's trying to work with are players that their legs are gonna give way eventually. Okay, like B said, the reason
at 27 years old,
the average age of well, to be precise, it's 26.6. But I wanted to round up. But basically, I think Nahom, I think they do have an identity, but the identity is pass it to the 33-year-old. Their whole game plan is surrounded around Messi. So wherever Messi goes, they basically are looking for him. There was a point in the game where I saw, I think it was Suarez making a through run, and Messi was literally just walking, and De Jong, he needed to pass the ball. He looked off Suarez and just passed the ball to Messi, and Messi played the ball wide. It's one of those things where when you're in trouble, you kind of put a lot of you hope for the best. So the best hope that they have is Messi, and there is nothing else going on in that team. B had mentioned earlier, like I was saying, that it goes beyond just Bayern Munich punishing this team. Like this has been an erosion since what's his name? Since Leo Messi had a little
Erosion.
altercation with. Yes,
What is
it's been an
erosion?
erosion. Erosion is okay. You see what it's been. Google it. It's been an
Very well.
erosion. It's been an erosion since Eric Abidal and Lionel Messi had this little beef regarding the sacking of Valverde. Ever since that happened, I think there was some rift between the players and the club, and I think it's now starting to rise to the top. Now they got a new well, it's rumored that Ronald Koeman is supposed to be going in, and I believe that hopefully he can help them out. But the main thing that they need to do is clean house. Antoine Griezmann, he is not good. I think almost everybody. I think De Jong and Longley. Those should be the only players. Longley and Fati. Everybody else, just go, just leave.
Can I rebuttal that? To where
Man City,
they don't just go.
Man
What
City.
do you say usually?
I heard you say.
Three
I
people
heard you
have
say.
to agree, right?
I heard you
That's
say
his
who's.
quote.
I heard you say who's gonna get Messi. I heard a word on the street is that Messi wants to leave and Manchester City is interested. So just Google that. So there are players. There's opportunities out there for these players to go somewhere else. Dembele has been frustrated, of course, but I think the best thing that they can do now is do what Manchester United did 2 years ago, which is just clean house and start over. There's nothing wrong with that. A fresh start.
Yeah, but let me ask you so. Let me say something. You know what's interesting about Barcelona to me? Like Ronald Koeman. Now, Holmes said it that it's not a good decision for you as a coach to take that job because you know you're going to get fired within a year, right? But it's the same. It's for a
I
coach.
don't necessarily agree with that statement, though.
Well, I do.
Ronald
Because
Koeman is a Barcelona legend.
yes,
There's
but
Cruyff, and then on the next tier down in terms of Barcelona folklore are guys like Ronaldinho and Ronald Koeman. So, like to say that the guys they're just gonna shove him out the door. Barcelona doesn't treat their own like
yeah,
that.
but it's
It's an
not
And
about.
election.
Ronaldinho
It
is
should,
partying in
Election, bro.
Paraguay.
but the situation is bigger than just. It's not really shoving him out the door. It's more about the election is coming and you want to win the election, so you want to do things that will please the fans. Like you're gonna say, if I win the election, I'm gonna get these three players and I'm gonna get this big coach and that help bring people to vote for you, right? That's how that part works. But the other part about it is which established coaches should take that job knowing that these things are going to happen and you have all these expensive mistakes that you're going to have to deal with, right?
But are
So
these not talented? But we're calling them expensive mistakes. Are
but they
these
don't fit.
not talented? Are
That's what
these
they
not
are.
They don't
extreme?
fit.
But hold on. Are these their mistakes in what sense? Are they still not extremely talented players? Like what?
Okay.
Which team would which clubs would not take most of these players that we're
Yes,
talking
And
about
and
an expensive mistake?
but they don't fit. They don't fit. We're not talking about the talent is there. But if
Yeah.
at Barcelona, those players don't necessarily fit the Barcelona way because it doesn't matter what coaches is. Barcelona have a way of play that's bigger than the coach.
Yep.
Barcelona cannot come and sit back. Barcelona fans will boo you. You
Well, and
understand? Your own fans will
also
boo you. Think
there's
about it.
there's
Where
there's a
where is
trade-off, B.
Dembele's? Where is
Then
Dembele's
they'll
best
continue to
position?
take 8. Like, would you rather take 8 and get booed?
Yes. Barcelona
Yes,
fans love.
but that's how. Yeah, you have certain clubs in the world like Barcelona and Real Madrid. That is why Jose Mourinho and the fans couldn't get along with Real Madrid
Yeah.
because it's bigger than just winning. You have to win while entertaining people because
Right.
you're at Barcelona. Like a part of
Yo, Jose
remember some of
Jose
yeah.
Mourinho has the highest point tally, I think, as a Real Madrid manager, and the fans weren't even happy with the season. Like
There you go.
they didn't
There you
dominate; they
go.
were more counter attack based. But you
Yes.
see now, on the back of Jose, those guys win how many Champions Leagues as a counter attack team? You know what I'm saying? Like,
and with all the talent that they have currently, what have they won
who's this?
for Barcelona? What has Barcelona won this season?
Well, they won the league last season, but it's because Madrid was going through a transition.
Right. So Real Madrid won this season. I think they got knocked out of the Liga. I don't know what the La Liga Cup is, and now they're dropping out of Champions League. So even though they have the Copa del Rey. So even though they have all this talent, kudos to them, but they did absolutely nothing with it. So,
talent means absolutely nothing if you're especially if you're trying to win Champions League. They probably can still win the league with the talent that they have. But to win Champions League, talent means absolutely nothing when you.
And that's a very
just as good as you.
That's a very interesting. That's a very interesting statement that you make, Nahom. In terms of talent means nothing. So in this one game format that we've been seeing, right? We've been seeing some results that over two legs, you know that the result would probably be different, right? Let's take a Lyon versus Man City, for example, or Atletico versus Red Bull, for example. Like, they have to go back to Vicente Calderon. That's a completely different tie. What do you guys think about this one game format? And based on what our initial thoughts were and versus what's actually transpired, how has it been different from what you anticipated as well? Go ahead and start, B.
Well, I think it's more entertaining, right? Especially for the fans. But I think the coaches, right? Okay, put it like this. I think it's more entertaining. But do I think that the Champions League gonna keep it? No, because the financial implication of you paying one less game is too much. So that I think. But what I'm disappointed is some of the coaches of the big teams, like Manchester City and Pep. Like I never thought I would say I'm so disappointed with Pep Guardiola as a coach. You are such a big club. Technically, you're better than them, and rather than you go and impose yourself on them, you go and come completely defensive, and it's a one-off game. It's a one-off game. Just play the way how you play because you're better than them. PSG did the same thing, a one-off game, right? In the first half, he come completely defensive until in the second half he opened up because they were losing, right? So the one-off game, it helps the smaller teams because they say, okay, they have one shot and they can play the best game of their lives, right? And they just play the system and they just play discipline and you never know what could happen. But for the big teams, man, like some of these coaches, they're getting paid so much money and just basics. I don't understand why no one is telling that guy, hey, just play simple, just do what you know, what you're used to doing. What is this thing of playing 5 defenders against Leon? I don't get it.
Your team had an interesting one-off result at the weekend away at not even away at Sevilla, but in Germany.
Very interesting, KT. I just want to add. I'm sorry.
Now home. KT is talking. Let the host finish.
So what do you think went wrong with United in their performance against Sevilla, and who do you think is to blame?
Okay, so I feel like this is an attack on me and my team. The very first question was in reference to the single game format, and right, now that it's my turn, yes. we're gonna turn the
single game format.
Okay, so with the single game format, okay, so I believe that I agree with B. Well, personally, the single game format is fun for me. Like, it feels like I'm watching the World Cup all over again, as opposed to some double header people. Like, there's a lot more strategy involved with playing playing two legs as opposed to when you're playing a single leg, playing a one-legged game. With the Cinderella teams, like I said in the last pod, they have the opportunity to do a little smash and grab, knowing that there's no repercussions because you're playing with house money. In the case of Manchester United versus Sevilla, Sevilla is literally the Europa League champ. They're known for doing well in the Europa League. So let's not sleep on Sevilla. We were actually the ones that were playing with house money. So I feel like this was one of the only opportunities that Manchester United could get a victory out of Sevilla, considering that we have no depth and we've been playing to get that Champions League victory. So I think that's basically what happened with my team. Also, we can see that the bigger teams are overthinking things. So the same thing that happened with Pep Guardiola, where he is trying to tinker with the team that he's playing against. Like if you're playing, like B said, there's no need for you to be playing with three in the back. Like when you guys were playing against Aubameyang in Arsenal, you play with four in the back. When you guys were playing against the dynamic strike force of Anthony Martial and Rashford and Mason Greenwood, you still play with four in the back. So I was a little confused when they changed it to three in the back because they were worried about what was happening. Fernandinho playing in the back and not playing in the midfield. That's also a thing that we should consider. But I like it, man. I have no qualms with the single game format. I encourage the teams to give the lower league teams an opportunity to come up and actually win Champions League. And this is going to be the only chance that they have. If we were playing against Sevilla, knowing that we had a second leg, it would have probably been one of those things where, we're going to be down 2-1. Let's just kind of take it easy, and next game we come back at them again. The same thing would happen for the Lyon City game. Lyon would be up by 2-1. City would probably keep the ball, knowing that on the next game things are going to be different. So it's just one of those.
I want to ask you. You're shuffling to other games. The man asked you about one team, right? What do you think about United's back line? Like you guys talking about Lyon and PSG.
So we're not talking about one game format. We're switching over to Manchester United and Sevilla. United. Okay, that's cool. So with Man United, the back line, it was terrible. We don't normally we were terrible in this game. Ole Wan-Bissaka, I feel like he was tired. Even before they scored in the first 10 minutes, I was thinking to myself, I feel like he went out the night before. You know how when we were at Shepherd, we would go out, we would go to Tony's, we would dance and do the thing. But then
I don't know what you're talking about for the record.
Well, some players allegedly went out on Wednesday night and they have a game on Thursday. Their legs are weak. That is how I felt with Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Brandon Williams. The back line, the leadership of Harry Maguire was nowhere to be found. They have a meme right now with the ball getting crossed and he is facing the other direction. I don't even know if he was photoshopped. There's no way that was real. But I do want you guys to understand that we are still the third in terms of league position. We are still the third team that are on the table, right under Liverpool and Manchester City. So if you want to compare who is right there up trying to compete with Manchester City, we are third in the league. Okay, so we do have that going for us. But it was just one of those things where the better team won. Sevilla, the better team won on the day. That's all I can say. Like
fair enough.
Better team won.
No, so in light of you trying to antagonize,
you were trying to do that before the recording too, KC. So don't put it all on the home.
So go ahead and what's your opinion of this format?
I like it because I hated the whole aggregate thing. It's like all these the tactics are a bit different, but this is the thing, man. Like Pep Guardiola was like Teflon Don for me. Like as a manager, like there's no secret. I'm a big fan of Pep Guardiola. After that game, man, I had to scratch my head because I remember a quote from Thomas Mueller that said, "In big games, Pep tends to overcomplicate things." And I thought, I was like, I dreamed it. And I Googled Thomas Mueller says this, and it came up. I couldn't believe it. And that's exactly what happened. So I feel like, being that it's a one-off game, he was trying to just be clever. But let me tell you something. Jurgen Klopp, rain, snow, or sleep, 4-3-3 with the same players, my friend. The guy doesn't have to change anything. it's not as complicated as you think it is. It's still football. Just play your team. So that was a personal thing. But I like it, man. I feel like if there's two legs, Leon is Pai is not going through. I wouldn't put my money on Leon in the second leg. I wouldn't put my money on a Leipzig in the second leg against Atletico Madrid at that wonderful stadium. So I think it gives, for the time being, I think it's entertaining. All right. Go ahead.
I think you make an interesting point, and to segue that point into our next topic, I feel like we've seen a lot of managerial changes that have occurred since the end of the season, and especially at the big clubs. And at the big clubs, you can only say that these managerial changes were based on European results, right? In lieu of the format, the difference in format, do you think that some of these clubs are taking these European results? They're putting too much weight on what's occurring in Europe. And do you guys think that there's any other managers who are, based on what has happened in Europe, will be on an even shorter leash in this upcoming season, because, the break is going to be very short. There's going to be a quick turnaround. So the results that just happened are going to be fresh in the memories of the boards, the fans, the players, the teams. So right now, it seems like, European football for most clubs is the end-all be-all. Bernard, what's your opinion? Do you think that managers or clubs themselves are putting too much weight into the results, or not even to the results? They're putting too much emphasis on European football itself.
Well, I think it depends on the club, right? And if we're going to be specific, let's look at Juventus, Barcelona, and Man United. I think for Juventus, no, they're not putting too much emphasis on the European football, because Juventus, them winning the league is normal. They won the league 100 times, right, in a row. So them putting emphasis on Europa Cup, that's why they fired him, because that's what he's there to do. He's not there to win the league. The players can win the league by themselves, right? Barcelona is the same thing. You win in the league, don't save your job, right? You have to perform well in Europe. Manchester United, to be honest, I think Oli should be fired. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. I think he should be fired.
Oh, so we talk about this. This is where we're going. Is the Man U show? Okay.
No. This is why. Why? Because Man United as a club, the standards at Man United is the same standards in terms of Barcelona and at Real Madrid. They're the basic requirement. Yes, because the size of the club, the basic requirement is to win a trophy, make the top four. This is the second time Oli went to a semi-final and lost within one season. Twice.
Was it 3 times? What about? I think it was FA Cup, League Cup, and Europa.
Well, you're making the point.
I'm trying to help you out, dude. I'm trying to help you out.
Thank you. Thank you. And I didn't even remember about that. And that makes it even worse. So in one season, you went to 3 semi-finals and you lost?
Yes.
All three.
So it's not far-fetched for people to be like, wait, this guy can't deliver us to where we want to go. It's a reasonable question.
So who do you go get, B?
Okay, of course, it's easy to get anyone bigger than him. Because remember, he didn't get the job based on his qualifications. Let's just be honest.
Merit.
He got the job based on how good he is as a player. He's not qualified to be a Man United manager.
Yeah, he didn't call you. KG didn't call you. It's like
I'm just saying. Go ahead, M.
B.
So obviously you have some disagreements with this, right?
Ole is. I believe that Ole is not the problem. Ole is doing the best he can with what he got, right? What you see the substitutions that he made in the Sevilla game in the 93rd and a half minute, right? When there's nothing else going on, he decided to roll the dice and he put in James, David James, he put in Fonsu Mensah, and he put in Igal. Like those, that's what we're trying with, right? After we managed to claw our way back from sixth position post-COVID, pre-COVID, we clawed our way all the way back up to Champions League position using the 11 players that we had on the team, right?
I didn't know that's how you spell bar.
Nahom, it's not your turn.
Okay.
The problem with Manchester United is not Ole. The problem with Manchester United right now is depth. That's where our problem lies. And that's why we were trying so hard to get the player, to get Jadon Sancho, which I believe would end up being, as the people in Barcelona call it, $1 million mistake, right? We've been bitten with Sanchez. Like we are still not anymore, but we were feeling the repercussions of investing so much in one player, knowing that there's a possibility for him to as we call it back home, for him to tush, right? For him to just poop all over the field. And that is why we're so hesitant on pulling the trigger on that deal, which is fine. The people that I want to blame is Mike Phelan. I want to blame Michael Carrick. I want to blame Woodward. I want to blame McKenna. Like I want to blame all the pundits that are out there in Manchester United world feeding everybody all this foolishness. That's not the problem. If we get Pochettino, you know what Pochettino is gonna do? Play with the best 11 that we have, which is what we have right now. And then what are you gonna do? Just throw James on, throw Mensah on, throw Brandon Williams. Those are the play. We're trying to get Smalling back. Like that's what we're trying to fix. So we have one part of the problem fixed, which is start to compete. Like I said earlier, we are the third team in the league, right? So it's not the two best teams in the league, which is head and shoulders above everybody else. It's followed by Manchester United. So I believe that it's one of those cases where people just want to be proven right as opposed to waiting for him to do something wrong. So that's just how I feel.
Okay, now can I say one thing before this? I want to counter something, right? M said something.
It's appropriate that you freeze. I think it's very appropriate that you freeze right now, because whatever it is that you have to say,
no, it's serious.
You're feeding on. It's one of those things where hold
on. I wanted to have some input until B comes on. So KG, you asked a question about like Europe, right? And is that overvaluing the season, and is that the be all and end all, right? It depends on the club, I think. Like a Juve, you know, they've won the league, 10 years in a row, 8 years in a row, maybe 9 in a row. So they're not really valuing the league as much because they can win it any day of the week, right? PSG, are they valuing the league? No, they win it comfortably. So yes, their golden standard or their baseline is Champions League and trying to win it. Simple, right? But a club like Manchester United or Chelsea, right now we're at the position where we're just like, do as good as you can, get as far as you can, but because financially being in Champions League has such a freaking value on things, we want you to qualify for Champions League. So I think it depends on the club, right, and the pedigree of the club. So obviously Barcelona, United, PSG will have, and Bayern will have different baselines, right, based on where they're at. As far as United goes, I think Ole bought himself some time and qualifying for Champions League. If he didn't qualify, they would have got it. But the fact that he qualified was, I would think, his goal. I don't think the goal coming into the season is win Europa League. I think it's to qualify for Europe, right? And that kind of shows you, on the other end, how low United, the prestige United have come to compare themselves and be proud of finishing tied with points with a team that loses Hazard and hasn't bought anybody in 2 windows, right? And a rookie manager. Like nothing's going on at Chelsea. We have championship players playing on our senior team. That can't be the baseline. So
Nahom, you guys have
to B's point, if Pochettino's manager, the baseline would not be qualified for Champions League. I mean, at all. It would be a lot higher than that.
If Pochettino was wait, say it again.
If because Poch has the pedigree of of he hasn't really won anything, but the fact that he's a big time manager, right? As the market values him. What Ole got this season wouldn't be good enough for Porch. So that tells me that you guys need a new manager. And that's
we have to start somewhere. We have to start somewhere. B, we moved on. We already moved on. B, KG, you can.
Go ahead. Final point.
Can I make it still?
Go ahead.
Oh.
We're waiting for you to come back.
All right, this is what I was going to say. So M told Nahom earlier, right, that when we were talking about Neymar, that no one wanted to see all the fandangles and the tricks and the flicks. He's a striker. He's there to score goals, right? Now, as a coach, you're there to win trophies. And you have a coach that went to 3 semifinals and lost.
Okay.
How is it now possible that he's not going to lose his job?
Okay. And let me
remember, I'm using what you said. This is why
yes. Good points. And let me answer that question. The reason why is because, like I said earlier, we don't have depth, so you have to pick and choose your battles. And the battle that we wanted to win this season was making it into Champions League. That battle has been won, and we have been playing with house money ever since. When we lost to Chelsea, I didn't shed a tear. When we lost to Sevilla, we were either going to lose to Sevilla or we were going to get smashed by Inter in the final. So there was nothing going on in either of those scenarios. So with me, and I can't speak for everybody, but for myself, I believe that if there was any game that needed to be lost in this entire post-COVID era, you can go ahead and lose those cup games as long as you get me into Champions League. You get me into Champions. He had to go not undefeated. He had to go unbeaten in the league to get to Champions League, and he did that. Hey, you earned yourself another season.
I disagree with you in the fact that yes, you have a depth problem, but you guys had 15 chances. You guys had 20 opportunities, and I think 12 on goal. A coach did his job. The players simply didn't come to play. They should have finished at least 2 or 3 of those chances. Should have been an easy game for you guys. So that's what I would say. The players didn't show up. Simple. And you need to go get Harry Kane and stop joking around. You know how you get Harry Kane? You know how you get Harry? You don't need a Sancho. You need to put that money towards a Harry Kane. You know how you get Harry Kane? Pochettino. Go get
all
Pochettino.
We need to do.
Harry Kane's coming tomorrow.
Nah, it's fine, man. All we need to do, we sell De Gea. We sell. Listen to this, B. Sell De Gea, Lee Grant, Pereira, Phil Jones, Chris Smalling, Eric Bailly, Juan Mata. You hear all the players that will never start on another Premier League team. Jesse Lingard and Daniel James. Rojo. Sell all 27 of those guys, and then you can get one Harry Kane, and we're Twiggy.
But how are you going to get Harry? But if you get Harry Kane, you lose Antonio Martial.
No, you put him out wide.
That's fine.
No, because the last time they tried that with Zlatan, he started to sulk. Remember, that's the first thing. And they took away his jersey. Now you play the guy a whole season as the number 9. And he has been scoring goals. He didn't score in that game, but he has been scoring goals. I guarantee you, if you go and buy a striker, you're going to lose that kid.
If I lose Martial and I gain a Harry Kane, guess what? Martial has to go. B,
you said that a striker. I told Nahom that strikers score goals. You know what Tony Martial didn't do in the Sevilla game when he was one-on-one with the keeper? Not score two clear-cut opportunities. I'm not even talking about the others. The 2 clear-cut opportunities that he had that keeps me awake at night, he didn't finish those. So if he can't do that, then hey, it is what it is.
But you're showing a double standard right there. You know why you're showing a double standard right there? Because a while ago you just said it. Martial can't score goals, so guess what you want to do? You want to go get Harry Kane. You have a manager that can't win in the semifinals. Why you don't want to fire him?
B, because the guy did what he needed to do to get us in Champions League. You can't win them all.
That's his trophy.
You can't win them all. You can't win them all.
All right, guys. So
you can't do it all.
I know this is supposed to be an hour. We were trying to keep this under 30 minutes, but we got some really good content tonight. Please follow us on our Instagram, the.soccerfamily. The.soccer.family. Check out our website, www.thesoccerfam.com, And please subscribe and like to our Facebook channel, The Soccer Family. It's been another family reunion. And guys, say your goodbyes and sign off.
Peace and love.
Glory, glory, Bayern Munich.